Hello, and welcome back to Mod Understanding. This is Part 8, Part 2, and we'll be going over the Mutant Beasts or Mutant Creatures mod. Now, this mod, as mentioned in the first episode, is actually used to be able to add in new bosses to the game in the form of mutant creatures. These creatures are created using Chemical X, which is craftable using a brewing station, but it's really hard to do so. Now what it does is it creates mutant creatures out of specific mobs. This is an example of a sheep. If it doesn't work with the mob, it kills it, but it also has a 50% chance of killing a mob that can become a mutant. And so, we'll just be going over, in this video, we're not going to be going over the items or armor, we're going to be just battling them. These are the items you're going to need, and this is how your inventory is going to be. Now, we'll start off with the Mutant Snow Golem, one of the weakest of the mobs. It doesn't attack you, and it doesn't do much. It helps decently with the mutant creatures, but even an Iron Golem is better. It doesn't do much, and it just creates a whole lot of snow everywhere. It won't attack you even if you attack it, which is different to a Iron Golem. Gives you some snowballs, I guess. Now next up we'll have is the Mutant Zonbie. This one requires you to have a flint and steel, due to the fact that it constantly goes back up after killing. Now the way you're going to want to kill it is by staying a decent way away from it and using a bow. If you go too far away from it, it will actually launch at you because it doesn't want you to be able to just do the entire match without being attacked. If you go in to try and attack it, that will happen. Although it does do more damage, it's much better to be able to use a bow, because bows won't do much damage to the actual mob, which is a feature that it has, but using a sword will do the same amount of damage. Another thing it will do is it will actually summon in zombies when it growls, causing zombies to just appear. As you can see, using Twyla, it didn't do much damage shooting it with a bow, but it does do quite a bit of damage when melee attacking it, so you should always try and use a bow and a sword just for whenever it's closer or nearby. Now I can actually shoot back the arrow at you if you aim it weirdly. That's why I went on fire there. Now when you finally actually kill the mob, then what you should do is you could quickly place down the flint and steel, and it won't burn the item, but what would happen is it won't go back up, which it would do for 3 more times. This item will be shown off in the next episode. Now we'll go next to Mutant Enderman, which requires just some items, such as blocks. Now they created a 2-tall platform similar to how you battle normal Endermen. This is actually the strongest of the mutant creatures, being that it does a whole load of things just to try and get it to not be attacked. It's the much largest boss fight out of the Mutant Creatures mob, and I'll just be skipping most of it. But I'll be showing you the first attack of each version. So you saw there it did minions and this of itself, and then now it's blinding you and giving, throwing blocks at you. Now when this phase ends, it will start just attacking you directly, or going into and creating more Ender clones of itself. I'll just be skipping ahead to show you how it is to actually, what happens when you beat it. Okay, so when you finally beat the Mutant Enderman, you should either try and get out, or try and grab the Eyes of Ender gotten from the mob, and then try and right-click using an empty hand on those little tiny like spherical things that were floating around. When you do so, they'll start to go around you, and you can then right-click using an Eye of Ender to create the Ender Soul Hand. You don't actually have it drop, but what you should do is use that sort of method. This is how you get this. And now for the next one we have is the Mutant Creaper. The Mutant Creeper is one of the more weaker ones, but you should always try and stay really far away from it due to its explosion when you kill it. Melee attacks don't do much, so it's always best to use a bow for this match. It doesn't have much health, actually kind of being sort of like the Mutant Snow Golem. Just its final attack is the more hard part. As you can see here, it's now prime when you kill it, and it starts dragging everything towards it, then doing a huge explosion where you have the creeper minion egg. When you right click it, it goes onto your head, but you can't actually physically take it off like the way you normally do with other items. You can't just right click, and you can't take it off your head. The way you do it is by going in a 2x2 high area, and it slides off. When you break it, or leave it on your head, when you leave it on your head, it gives you a creeper minion. When you break it, it gives you a creeper shard, or a ton of gunpowder. Now last up is the mutant skeleton. A little weaker and about the same sort of strength, no, a little stronger than the creeper, but a little bit on the same side as the zombie. What it does is it attacks you with tipped arrows with different effects. It's best to actually use a bow against it as well, because whenever you try and go close to it, it attacks you quite a bit. As you can see here, you shouldn't try and go close to it because it does a weird ribcage attack and does quite a bit of damage to you. It also hits you back if you ever use a shield, so don't try and use one for this match when going close. When you attack it and kill it, it will actually explode into a whole lot of pieces. When you right-click those pieces, they give you the different parts for the armor. Now, not every skeleton gives you the amount of armor needed to complete the set, but the one that you're definitely going to get is the skull, being the helmet of the set. And so that will be about it for today's Mod Understanding. Tune in next time to be able to see the items that the mod adds in.